Welcome to codervlog, and in this video I will tell you how to improve your gaming performance in Unity. The gaming performance is very important for successful game, and it is the basic fundamental element of your game, because nobody want to play a laggy game, a low performance game. So in order to achieve high value in the gaming market, you must provide high quality user experience and good gaming performance. So if you did not care about, if your game did not provide good gaming performance, so your efforts, so your time, everything will be wasted. Okay, so therefore I am creating the video on how to improve the gaming performance. So I will start from the basics, from the fundamental, and I will speak in very easy words. I will explain in very easy words so you can easily understand. So basically your gaming performance is depend upon two things, that is CPU and GPU. You already know that CPU is a central processing unit and GPU is the graphical processing unit, while the CPU is responsible for all of your code, all of your scripts, the physics in the game, the collision detection in the game, and every type of backend process. The CPU is responsible, okay, while the GPU is responsible for drawing the frames, the high quality graphics, the polygon count, and every front end process. Okay, if you optimize these two processing units, then you can easily boost your gaming performance. So in this video I will tell you the two optimization technique, that is CPU optimization technique and the GPU optimization technique. So it contains some techniques, some easy techniques, and which you follow, which you apply, so you can achieve a very good gaming performance. Okay, so let's start. So our first technique is the script optimization for CPU optimization technique. So in the script optimization technique, you have to care about these three function: update, fix update, and let update, as these three functions are called every frame per second. So you need to put less number of line of code in these three function. If you put so many line of code in this function, which can cause CPU overhead, and in the result you will lose the gaming performance. So you must add a less line of code in these three function, and you need to find alternative. Like if you want to detect collision, so you can use other function like on inter collision or on trigger collision. There are a lot of different method used for collision for physics. So in the end I will say that use these three function for very important thing, and put less line of code in these three function to optimize your CPU power. Okay, the technique number 2 is the draw call batching. First of all, I will explain what is the draw call. The draw call is the function, is the built-in function which Unity use to render, to draw a game object on the screen, and for every game object it will call a draw call function, which can cause a CPU overhead again. So CPU, it consume a lot of CPU power, because for every game object it is called a draw call continuously. So in order to reduce the number of draw call, and in order to solve this problem, Unity provide you a function, a feature that is called batching. So what is batching? Is batching basically merge, combine your different game object, your different meshes into one. So a draw call will be call one time. So you have to enable the batching technique, and it will reduce the number of draw call, and you will see a drastic improvement in your gaming performance. So in the article it says 70% it will improve your gaming performance. So in the detail there are two techniques. One is static batching and other is dynamic batching. So I will not cover the static batching and dynamic batching in detail in this video. In the next video I will talk about static batching and dynamic batching because it contains more detail and video will be longer. So in short word, I will say that static batching is used for non-movable object which did not move and it is large in size. So on that game object we apply static batching, and the object which moves and which have low polygon count and low size, like a character, like a player, so on that thing we apply dynamic batching. So here's a link, you can just click on it and view the details. Okay, technique number 3, enable or disable game object. In the meantime, you have a lot of game object in the game, okay, and some of the game object are useless for some time. It is used some game object is used for some time. So for that game object you need to disable that game object, and when you need that game object you can re-enable it by the simple script, by simple code. So you can enable or disable game object and it will consume less memory and it will improve your gaming performance, while it also causes less load on GPU to render less game object. So you need to disable the useless game object. When you want to use them, then you can re-enable by a code, by a script. Technique number 4 is the object pooling. So object pooling is a technique that in that technique we have to save the game object in a list or array. We use list or array because we need to save multiple game objects, the same game object. And why we are using this technique? We use this technique because we have to avoid these two functions, the instantiate and destroy. The instantiate basically create a game object and destroy the game object, but using this function is very expensive for the CPU power because it take so much of your CPU power, and so the game will be laggy or slow. So we need to avoid these two functions. So we will use object pooling technique, and in the object pooling technique we just save the number of same game object in one array and we can use in the game and we reuse in the game. Like for example, if I have a gun and I have the gun, when I fire the gun, so it produce a number of bullets at a time, at a second. So producing or enabling the bullet is also a game object, and bullets are many, are too many in the number. So that's why we just enable the bullets, and for destroy we just disable the objects in the array, so we reuse that bullets. So in this video, similarly in this video I will not explain the detail of the object pooling. In the next video I will explain with the example with more detail. Okay, the step number 5 is the to set up your audio correctly, which is very important. You must set up your audio setting correctly, and I cannot explain every detail here in this video because there are so much detail about audio, I will just explain its basic thing. So in next video I will explain I'll explain all the details about audio settings in audio. So the in short words I will say that you must use two audio format. One is the wave format and other is the mp3 format, and use the wave format audio file for the sound effect, and use mp3 for the background music and for the streamed files, because mp3 is smaller in size, so it consumes less memory than the wave file. As you can see and read the articles, you will understand. And while the wave consume less processing power, so you need to use sound effect. You need to use the wave format audio file for the sound effect, because it produce lower CPU overhead. Okay, and if you did not care about the proper audio setting, so then your game can take more time on loading a scene, and maybe your game can be a laggy to play. So it is also important to set up your audio correctly. Okay, now come back to the GPU optimization technique. So this technique is for the GPU optimization. So our first technique is to set up your quality setting correctly. So you need to set up your quality setting correctly. If you are making a game for mobile, so these settings are recommended, and if you are making game for a PC, Xbox and PlayStation, so then you can use high quality setting. But for mobile app development, mobile app games, these settings are highly recommended and highly used. You must use it. So first of all, you need to set your default setting to medium, and then you have to set the pixel light to 0. Don't use pixel light, it consume more GPU power. And disable real-time reflection props and shadows. So shadows is also using most of the GPU power, so disable it. So you must follow these settings. Then technique number 2 is to increase your frame per second rate. That Unity use 30 frame per second by default, so you need to increase it to 60 frame per second by our code. So the code is here available, so you need to add this code in your Unity editor, and it will increase your frame per second to 60. Okay, so technique number 3, that is occlusion culling. So technique number 3, that is occlusion culling. So occlusion culling is a feature that is provided by Unity, and by default Unity render everything in the scene, which is in the scene. But if you enable and if you use this feature of occlusion culling, so it will render only those area of your game which is visible to your camera eyes. So it will not render everything. Okay, it will render only those area of your game which is visible to your camera eyes. So it highly increase your performance, and the load on the GPU will be decreased so much by using this feature. Okay, the technique number 4 is the cooling and LODs. The LOD meaning is the level of detail. Using this technique, using this feature, Unity will show different level of detail at a different location. In simple word, it will show different resolution of a game object at a different distance. If you are closer to the game object, so it will show its maximum details. If the player is far from the game object, so it will show less detail of the game object. So in that way the GPU is optimized. So you can also use this feature to optimize your GPU. Okay, the point or technique number 5, reduce camera render distance. You can reduce the camera render distance by two ways, manually or by coding. So manually you can go to the main camera in the Unity, and there will be the distance option, that is clipping plan, and you can just increase and decrease the distance of near and far. So just go to the main camera in the Unity and you will see every option for that. And by coding, you just use this code for the main camera, so this will reduce the render distance of the camera, because the camera have already some default values to render a specific area. So if you reduce the value, so it will render less area. So you can increase and decrease the distance of rendering by camera, and with using by reducing the render distance can increase the gaming performance, and it avoid GPU overhead. So these are some techniques which is very important and useful for improving your gaming performance. So if you apply these techniques, will help you a lot in gaming performance. So in the end, in the conclusion, I will say that you must use Unity Profiler. It will tell you everything about your gaming performance. It will tell you that where your game is lacking and where at which point your game is creating problem on performance. So use that Unity Profiler. It is highly recommended. And in the end, I will say that you must optimize GPU and CPU by using these techniques, and with using these techniques you will see the results very fastly and quality result. and and I will explain these techniques in details one by one in videos, in upcoming videos. So stay tuned and subscribe my channel and support my channel. So see you in next video. So stay tuned. Bye bye.